Oh, everybody. You know what's great about wrestling? That if you really give it a chance, it can always entertain you and always give you a good time. And if you don't think so, well, you're just ignorant and you suck. But for the people willing to give this great entertainment platform a chance, I think Money in the Bank 2021 would really make your money's worth, and you'd really see what all us crazy wrestling fans love about the product. So having said that, once again on the show, great friend of the show, we have Ryan Page, also the co-host of the Tweet Cap, is here. Going? And Ryan, what's going on, man? First things first. Yeah, how are you? How was your weekend? Everything good?
I'm good. It was good. Yeah, no complaints.
Excellent. So let's get to it right away, Ryan. Sure. Money in the Bank 2021, huge wrestling events. Unfortunately, we don't have our Gen Zers. They have personal matters to take care of, but they'll join us for SummerSlam. So I just want to keep that in mind. Shouts to Ron and AJ, but we'll see them in a month's time. But for the moment,
do my best to put the Zillennial hat on, Matt. I will do my best for you.
Yes, please throw in references. And now we're at a point where now they're slang words that we don't even know what they come from. We're the ones that are dictionarying it. But besides that,
much all of
them. Besides whether you're a Gen Zer, a millennial, a Gen X, even a baby boomer, last night's 2 nights ago from today's wrestling event, Money in the Bank 2021. Before we get into specifics, what did you think of the event as a whole? As I explained, I think it was one insanely great show all in all, but that's my opinion, but I'd like to hear what you have to say.
So it was good. I thought like everything was good on it. Had the ending not been the ending, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I think everybody saw that as one of the more probable endings for the show. I remember even texting you after the match. I mean, yeah, they had the Seth Rollins Edge brawling. I said John Cena is coming out within the next minute. Otherwise, they severely missed it because it wasn't for first show back. It wasn't like must see. Like you and I like watching WWE wrestling, right? Yes. So for us, this is great because we've seen some really, we watched a match with zombies in it. So this is better than that. But we watch anyway. So for us, the people who are probably going to watch most of the time anyway, this was really good. Like, 2 thumbs up. But to really get people excited, now that fans are back, they needed something big. And at the end, they got something big. I think they could have done more, which we'll get into. But the ending was great, and all the matches are great. So I don't want to be like a negative dude right off the bat. Because I thought it was great. I wasn't upset about watching other than the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, and that wasn't their fault. That was Peacock's fault. Awful streamer. But we'll get into that again, I'm sure too.
For sure.
But that was my 2 cents. My takeaway was really good. Somehow I still thought it could have used more, and I think there was more it could do, even if some of the like the fan ideas are maybe not gonna happen anymore. And there's some rumors that a couple people we thought would be around are not going to be around. I think there's still more they could have done last night that they didn't do.
Right. Okay. Well, yes, throughout the time we're on here, we'll definitely hit on those points. So having said that, let's go into the big story, a story that was trending worldwide legitimately as of 5 minutes ago on Monday, the 19th. Just under 24 hours after this happened, it is trending number 5 on YouTube, on all of YouTube. So again, a legitimate big deal. And what is that? That is the 16-time world champion, the legitimate movie star, and obviously one of wrestling's biggest names of not only all time, but in the moment now. John Cena returns to Money in the Bank after what was an insane main event, which we'll get into right after we focus on this. But John Cena is back. And again, when ESPN and Bleacher Report actually report on it, then there's something to it. So, as you mentioned, there was definitely rumors coming in that John Cena was coming back. Alas, for another person, for Roman to actually legitimately compete with, despite it's your turn, whether it's your turn, Ray, it's your turn, Kevin Owens, it's your turn, Edge. Now we have another legitimate threat, a big name who was not on WWE TV since last WrestleMania, and that wasn't even in front of fans. So pretty much almost close to a year and a half without seeing John Cena in a full WWE arena. And now he's here. And there were some rumors coming in that he actually booked a movie to start filming in August. And well, whether that's true or not, obviously they will accommodate. But yeah, I mean, as you said, the convo, me and Ryan were talking and saying like, "Oh, where's John Cena?" was Ryan's exact quote. As we were waiting patiently as WWE gets its great pause, like, okay, so there's obviously going to happen. I don't think they want to end the show with Roman saying, "Acknowledge me." But hey, even if you did see it coming, once you heard that iconic, literally, there's iconic music, you definitely were excited and chills, and you didn't care at that moment whether you expect it or not. It was still pretty awesome. And it was great also not hearing John Cena sucks following that
There's a
song
couple.
scene there. Well, those are losers. But
Yeah,
it
but
was
at this
just
point, it's almost like the Kurt Angle sucks, like the "you suck" chant. At this point,
yeah,
I think people just say it because it's a fun way for them to get on TV.
exactly.
I don't
Well,
think
but
anyone actually is upset that John Cena's back. I think everyone is very happy, especially we'll talk about Bobby Lashley later.
mhm,
Compared to who they could be doing, people are
right.
happy it's John Cena.
Exactly. But all in all, it was an exciting moment again for anybody to be entertained. And it was a lot of fun. I was legitimately hyped while I was watching it last night on my phone. And it was sweet. Ryan, what was the experience like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised that he got. I mean, I'm not. That's not true. I take that back. I was interested to see how people would react, just because he did have the John Cena sucks, but everybody loved the Firefly Funhouse match.
Yeah.
From not last WrestleMania, but the one before it. So I think and it was also very kind of self-deprecating. I mean, the whole match was centered around Cena's career and basically burying John Cena's career in a way, or
Hmm.
defeating John Cena's career. Obviously, he's not buried; he's a 16-time world champion. But I would say that I was pleasantly surprised, or pleasantly confirmed, because I guess I wasn't that surprised that
Hmm.
people were excited for John Cena. I still don't think it was louder than Edge's reaction, by the way.
Hmm.
I know at WrestleMania, and no disrespect to Daniel Bryan, and also that was a great match and it worked out fine. But at WrestleMania, Edge had to do this weird kind of heel thing, and I don't know why that was. I don't know why fans were clamoring for another Daniel Bryan, WrestleMania moment like that. Not that he shouldn't have one; he's great, but I don't know why fans didn't like Edge versus Roman Reigns solo. I can't imagine that Daniel Bryan was the original WrestleMania plan, for them. But in fairness, the fans booed Edge a little bit at Mania. He was playing the bad guy, and they booed. So I was like, I hope they don't do that again, because I mean that's ridiculous. But no, it was a full crowd. Hasn't been live since WrestleMania, or I guess since SmackDown, which he was also on. But they were very much pro Edge, and yeah, there was a couple of the older, smarter. There's a lot of quotes there. Fans cheering for Roman Reigns too, but I don't think it was a either or thing. I think it was a both. So Edge, I think, still took the biggest reaction of the night in front of the live fans. I mean, by Big E, Kofi, they all had a great reaction too. But I think Edge still takes it for me. So interesting. Cena's supposed to be the big surprise, and I think Edge was just, Edge was what everybody wanted to see, which is awesome. But
Hmm.
again, well, I'm sure we'll talk about that actual match in an actual segment, so I won't get too much into it
Yeah.
unless you want me to.
Next one. We'll go.
If
We'll
you want me to,
focus
I'll
on.
do it
We'll
now.
focus on Cena now, and then right after that, we'll focus on the main event from last night.
Okay, so okay, fine. So I mean, I don't know. I think John Cena should have done something. I get he doesn't have to. I get John Cena showing up is newsworthy. I get John Cena looking at Roman Reigns is newsworthy. And we know it's newsworthy because the news covered it. But from a story perspective, but by the way, I mean, I'm going to out when we're recording this, but that's fine. Kind of have to. Raw is happening right now. And so he came out tonight and challenged Roman Reigns officially. He's back because he wants to be Universal Champion, all that stuff. And I I think that should have happened last night. And I think he probably should have taken a spear or a Superman punch last night from an incensed Roman Reigns. And then he can still show up to Raw and still say he's back. And, Roman thinks he's tough, but I'm John Cena and the fans are here. And I love the fan. He gets done almost everything other than announcing that why he was back, which we already knew as soon as he came out during that match anyway. But I really do think that needed to end on something. I think it could have ended on something a little bit more kind of hot. And I think that's probably what it would have been. Obviously, you don't want Cena to come out and attack necessarily. I mean, that'd be cool if he was like, some sort of, if there was like a Bray Wyatt fallout and he was kind of a little bit more aggressive, but they weren't really ever going to do that. And I don't think they need to. Cena's pretty much baked in who John Cena is. Unless he's going to be back for a long time, you don't want to play around with it. So if he's only back for a little bit to do this program with Roman Reigns for the next, 6 weeks, that's fine. I think he should have got beat up. Or maybe have him beat up the Usos, after an attempt to beat him up. There should have been some sort of physical altercation between John Cena and the Bloodline, I think, because it could have been.
The
Cena
show just kind of ended.
Tonight.
He went out, and it was a WWE Network exclusive to see.
Right, and so like it could have been, could have had. He could have come out tonight, all fired up like he does. Roman Reigns, if he had been hit, or some other, and something else, he could have come out all fired up. And I mean, Roman Reigns angry is basically the best part of his character. Either angry at the Usos or angry at John Cena or whomever, Edge. Just having him be angry is always a pretty good, segment for SmackDown. So I think that was probably a missed opportunity. But again, it's also John Cena, right? 16-time world champ. The only person anyone thinks of when you say pro wrestling, realistically, I mean, obviously older folks have different names, but talking our generation, we talk to people who don't watch wrestling, who are our age, and you say wrestling, they're almost always going to say John Cena, period. That's just who they're thinking of. With a couple
legitimate
other
living legend at this point.
Right. So he doesn't need to do anything. He certainly, got attention just by showing up. And again, maybe he is filming a movie and they really don't want him to do a single thing except for the SummerSlam match to cut down on insurance costs. That's possible too, that he's not going to brawl. He's not going to touch gloves with anybody. He's not going to be at all involved in a physical altercation until SummerSlam. And he's good enough to build that match without touching anybody, without being a part of any actual matches or any kind of physical altercations. But if they're not doing it for insurance, I think they should have added some sort of spark right away, added some sort of, attack or failed attack or something right away to really, get people like Cena's back and Roman's not happy. You know what I mean? But we'll see. We'll see what the story is because it started literally less than 24 hours ago. So
yes,
who knows?
My other question is, do you legitimately believe him when he says, this is the first time, not just the only time? And you think he's going to come back on a more frequent basis? I know you hit on it in your last answer, but if you wanted to elaborate on this as well, do you think he's more like an Edge, show up when it's absolutely more, show up when it's absolutely necessary? Or do you think like, hey, maybe this is a second run of some sort?
No, it's definitely not a second run. I mean, I would say Edge, frankly, is wrestling more than some people. I would be surprised if Cena even wrestles as much as Undertaker or Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. Okay, so that type of tier.
I think he's going to be more like that. Like, maybe for one of the big 4 pay-per-views, he'll do a run-in sort of thing, and then they'll book one big match. It'd be interesting to see. Maybe, I mean, I don't know. Do a lot of movies film in the summer? Yes, right.
Yeah,
do a lot of
movies all year round, especially because I'm thinking when is the
big. So when's the big release times for movies?
Well, I mean, you have your summer blockbusters, you have your award season fall.
Well, he's not going to be in those, so we can cross that out.
So assuming this is John Cena, who's been in many. Well, yeah. I mean, he's been in enough. He's pretty much an action star. Usually action movies come out in the summer.
Kids movies too.
I would think, a year in advance, he's probably shooting something that is aiming towards a summer release, whether for the theater or Netflix. And this is, I have absolutely no idea what
Yeah,
movie he's
no, I know.
supposed to film. I knew it was reported he booked
Yeah.
something.
So I would say based off of that, and I kind of agree with you. His movies are always going to come out in the summer, so maybe they're almost going to do a SummerSlam thing. I know they want SummerSlam to be bigger. They want it to be more like, WrestleMania, instead of having
Yeah.
one big show a year, and then what I mean, they almost want to have like cut it in half. So they got a SummerSlam season and a WrestleMania season almost. I
Which
heard
is
that's
cool to
the
evolve from
rumor.
where we used to watch. I
Well,
mean, it
yeah,
was big, but it's not like, they're playing in the
yeah.
brand new Las Vegas Raiders stadium that
It's not the
did not
biggest
see any
party of the
fans.
April. The
Exactly.
video that's from. But
Oh, yes. Great walk
so
culture.
yeah, I would say that it's totally possible they might kind of have him, just do random kind of appearances
So he's like the Undertaker
in the
now,
in like late
but much
spring.
younger.
Right, in like late spring, and then show up for a big main event match at SummerSlam, and then go off to film movies all fall. And then once his next movie comes out, he'll be in WWE to promote it. It's perfect synergy right there. So I would imagine that's the most he's willing to do. This could also, by the way, totally possible. This is literally a one-time thing. I know he said first time, not the only time, but it's very possible this is the only time we're going to see him
WWE
in
doesn't lie to
years.
us.
Again, if he comes back 3 years from now, then he could say he didn't lie. And I think that's equally likely that he goes away for the next 3 years as it is that he starts doing like an Undertaker schedule. But he's definitely not doing Edge. I mean, because Edge will pop up. Edge did like 3 pay-per-views in a row.
Yeah.
Or tried to. He got hurt that one time, but you know what I mean? So even Brock Lesnar did more than that. So
Right.
I don't think he'll be like that. I think he'll be less than that.
Okay.
He's got too much money wrapped up in other stuff.
He is, and
that's why
he
we
has
don't see
family.
The Rock. That's why we don't see The Rock anymore.
Right.
Because unfortunately, The Rock is in movies year round, unlike
Yeah.
John Cena. So Rock can never come back. Same with Batista. That's why he retired. Probably.
So yeah, that's, I guess time will only tell with this, but for now it is exciting. He did get he shaved his head. He got the classic, as close as you can with the classic look as possible.
While balding, correct?
Exactly. But yeah, it's just cool to see John Cena, man. I mean, simple as that. He's a lot of fun. He's entertaining, good on the mic, legend for a reason. And, obviously amazing with kids and, being a legitimate role model, and seems pretty genuine if you heard his interviews.
I wonder how relevant that still is. Amazing with kids. Today,
like, do they look up to as much?
Right.
I mean, I don't know. He's
we were
not
kids,
around.
he was the WWE champion for the entire time, like pretty much our entire childhood was like him, and then whichever bad guy beat him for a month, and then so that's how I got to 16 so fast. So I wonder if that's still the same now that they had the Shield guys kicking around at the top for a little bit. Brock Lesnar's been not that kids look up to Brock Lesnar per se, but Brock Lesnar's been champion the majority of this time. Like, Goldberg is running around.
Angry guy.
Yeah, they've had a lot of heel champions. They also haven't had a lot of like long-term face champions. So it could still be John Cena. But I just wonder if kids are like, if kids still love the Cena merchandise and the Cena this and the Cena that, or if there's someone else. I don't know. Like, I don't even know how you would check that. But I'd just be curious to see if kids are still like really excited about John Cena all the time, or if it's more of like almost like a nostalgia act. Is John Cena actually more geared toward us?
Could that be the story coming into that? They gotta be part of the story.
No, I mean it could be, but I doubt they do that. I just mean when Stone Cold comes out, we didn't watch during Stone Cold. We talk about the Zoomer versus Boomer versus Gen Y, which is millennial, but we really didn't watch in the 90s. Like, we saw clips, and I know Rock's your favorite wrestler and all that stuff, but we didn't watch The Rock really. We didn't watch Stone Cold really. We've seen clips and we saw like the tail end maybe a little bit, but like we were John Cena, Batista, Edge, Randy Orton.
That was the prime.
So those people, when they show up, are like, oh yeah, that guy's still doing it. Rey Mysterio, another one, although he's had a pretty long career, but Rey Mysterio is another one. Like, oh yeah, Rey Mysterio. Whereas the other people are there to get slightly older demographics. So I do wonder if John Cena isn't actually trying to appeal to like the 18 to 35-year-olds.
Yeah, I
actually.
wonder. He is playing a very bad guy in the new Fast 9 that's out in theaters right
That
now.
too.
Vin Diesel's brother. He's playing a heel character there. I guess Ty, what's up? My gut says I do think there is still an audience out there for Cena. You saw the crowd shots; they were kids hyped.
Oh yeah.
So I guess we would one day when we have our Jamie, Joe Rogan's Jamie, say, Jamie, pull up the
Pull up
Make
the
a Wish
merchandise.
numbers.
Yeah, pull up the merchandise sales.
But very soon we'll have that. But yeah, all in all, Vince McMahon delivered in that sense, and it's a cool story coming in. And the very last question I have for this is: do you think there's going to be a time? Obviously, people are hyped for Cena, but do you think there's a chance that these fans will start booing him and like, okay, you gave us a nice moment
No.
2 weeks ago, but now we don't like you anymore? Or do you think
The only way
it's
that could
legitimate hype?
happen, that only way that could happen is John Cena had a wrestling match on Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown every week, and made several appearances in NXT, and he
Mhm.
won all those matches, and they were against like the New Day. Any member of the New Day? If they were against like, God, it might just be the New Day. They probably want to see him beat Riddle. That would probably make people upset. People really like Riddle right now. Dude, if they want him to cheer forever, have Drew McIntyre step to him tonight and just have Cena destroy him, because people were not happy about Drew McIntyre last night.
Yes, we'll
He got
definitely hit
like
on that
probably
too.
the quietest cheer of all of the big baby faces. He's supposed to be John Cena. I mean, realistically speaking,
Yeah.
he's the closest thing they have to that, to the, the person they'll send to make a wish, the person that, kids will buy the sword. They want to be a Scottish warrior. I mean, his character sucks right now with these ridiculous Scottish folklore stories that he keeps adding himself into and it started off okay, I guess, when he talked about like William Wallace and strategy, and then they've gotten more and more like outlandish. I almost said brogue kick. I think he Claymore kicked Nessie last week in his last story. So it's just very like stereotypical Scottish, very silly. So you want to get, if John Cena is here for us, and I don't know if he is, depends on who still likes him the most. Yeah, honestly, just have him beat up like Drew McIntyre and like, I don't know, John Morrison, Sheamus maybe. People like Sheamus, I guess, right now, but he's a bad guy. It's okay. Have him beat up Jackson Riker. No one likes him either.
Okay, but bottom line, you do expect John Cena this hype
Yeah, he's gonna,
to last.
unless they put him against someone like really hot. Like if Keith Lee returns and gets beat up by John Cena, or if Finn Balor, who just came back to the main roster last week, has his first match and loses against John Cena, that will make fans upset. And they'll be like, oh my God, they're going to bury everybody so John Cena can lose to Roman Reigns. So if they don't do that, he'll be fine. Not saying they won't, by the way. They've done it before, but I don't think they will. They don't need to.
It's going to be interesting to see. So preceding that match, you had quite the main event. In my opinion, started a bit slow, then it really turned into, really switched up to 100 as the match progressed. Many near falls, crazy moves, explosions and barricades, and interference. And yeah, this really was quite a roller coaster of a match. But the main event, Universal Championship, Roman Reigns first Edge, delayed it 3 months to when it was supposed to, but all I can say, it really was worth the hype in a clashing of generations. How do you feel about this, Ryan, with your boy Edge and how the match unfolded?
I was good. I liked the whole thing. I don't think it was slow at all. I mean, it was actually, so that's a lie. It was slow. But that's the way that they do it with Roman Reigns. I mean, Roman Reigns' character is this, he's very slow. A lot of people, I think, are skipping over that. Had old Roman Reigns wrestled like this, he would have been booed mercilessly. But people like the new Roman Reigns, like the new character, so they're willing to let these matches go. But he spends like, I don't even know, I'd say close to 50% of the match trash talking. I mean, like grinding them down, acknowledge me and all that stuff. Like that's the character. So
this
when
bitch,
Roman,
I'm choking now or stuff like that.
Exactly.
By the way, the match clocked in at 33 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yeah. And that's another thing about Roman matches. They're the long fight. They always are now.
Yeah.
They were before too, actually, but it used to be a long fight where Roman Reigns ran around for 30 minutes. and now he gets to breathe a little bit. But yeah, so when Roman Reigns, tosses Edge out of the ring and then starts yelling at a kid in the front row, some people hate that because there's nothing happening really, but that's just how his matches are now. And most people really like it. So I didn't have a problem with that. I'm a little surprised the Mysterios came out, to be honest.
Yeah.
I kind of
was too.
Like, I get it. They lost the title to the Usos, which that's another thing. I'm sure we'll go over that. But on the pre-show, but I didn't think they would keep going, to be honest with you.
Yeah, for a second, I thought it was a solid interference, but hey, they kicked him out before they could really make it effect.
Well, that, and just again, now, so are the Mysterios going to get a second, or get the rematch at SummerSlam? I kind of thought the Mysterios would take the next 5 weeks to break up. I would say Dominic versus Rey is a better match than the Usos versus the Mysterios at this point. Not that, I mean, listen, they only have like 1.5 tag teams, so I get why they might want to keep them, but no one watches WWE for tag teams anyway, because outside the New Day and the Usos, they don't have any real ones.
NXT.
I mean, RK Bro, right? RK Bro, they could always challenge on the Raw side if they're looking for something to do. That would be really cool to see them maybe even beat AJ and Omos. And I honestly just don't put the SmackDown one on the show. Have the Usos just walk around with it. It makes them look more legit. It makes them a bigger threat to John Cena if they've got those titles. Maybe even have John Cena and insert, person like Big E or whoever do a thing with them. I don't know. I don't know what you do. They should, I don't know. SmackDown tag titles mean nothing. I would break up the Mysterios and have that match at SummerSlam. I think it's a bigger match, but I guess that's not what they're going to do. So is what it is. But yeah, surprised about the interference that they had. But it was good. I mean, in fairness, I saw the Seth one coming and I saw the Cena one coming. I saw the Usos coming because obviously they always show up, but I didn't see the Mysterios coming out to take out the Usos actually. So
yeah,
I kind of thought the Usos would beat up Edge. Edge would still kick out and then, spear both Usos into next week. And then the match would continue. So the fact that they had the Mysterios do it was kind of fun. It gave me something that I wasn't expecting in a match that I pretty much knew how it was going to go from when it started.
Right. But even in the match, it was still pretty thrilling. And
they had a couple of really good close calls.
Especially the kickouts. Like they were really close.
Yep.
By the way, did you notice the one botch where Roman broke out of a kick out when there wasn't a ref counting and then he fell again? For a very close kick out. That.
I think Pat McAfee even called attention to it, which I'm sure Vince really liked. Vince McMahon was probably pretty excited that their commentator made mention of it. But, although Pat McAfee's been very good, so I think it'll be fun.
And that major audience of his keeps flocking for Tommy. I could say is a semi wrestling fan now because his boy.
I am curious to see how much of that is real, how much of that sticks. I mean, I don't know anyone who is like, man, I really like Michael Cole. You know what I mean?
In the history of your life.
I'm not saying it to be mean to Michael Cole, by the way, but I mean, like, who watches wrestling because they're someone they know commentates?
Yeah.
Other than like, Mrs. McAfee, like his mom. I could see that. But like, what fan of somebody's like, yep, this guy I really like,
Even in all sports too. I mean, no one really goes to
in all sports. No one's like, well, I really hate baseball, but I really like, I don't even know who's a baseball announcer. I can't even name one. But I really like so-and-so. He announces for the Yankees. So I watch every Yankee game. You know what I mean? That would be insane to think someone would do that. So I can't imagine there's that many people who are watching because of Pat McAfee, realistically. But he is someone that other people know and like care about.
Yeah.
Like Barstool, ESPN, so, legitimate sports news.
Yeah.
So he is someone that can probably get an interview and then can talk about wrestling on those sites to try and find real fans in the process. Or at the very least to just kind of build a profile, make it feel more important, even if the numbers don't change very much. So he's definitely still helpful, like, because he has those connections and he is still popular. Like, I don't know, Barstool doesn't do a lot of wrestling. I'm sure Barstool would sit down with Pat McAfee to talk about what he's doing on SmackDown, rather.
Exactly. McAfee was once an employee of Barstool and left to do his own thing. Hence
that's what I'm saying.
Show. But
he's got
yeah,
those connects, which I'm sure. And I mean, Jimmy Smith to a lesser extent, same thing.
I guess
On Raw.
time will tell. But hey, I mean, his stream gets average 100,000 viewers a day, and then on his show, his McAfee, 10 million 10 million downloads daily. His show's also simulcast on Sirius, so he does help. He does help, and
Right,
still
he's
does
got
the schedule
connects,
for
he's
me.
got
So
reach. They just got to use him.
exactly. So, but it was his funny call when Michael Cole's like, "Cena's here," and then Pat says,
Where is
"Where?"
he? Yeah, that was pretty good. That was really good, actually.
But
Where?
back to the Edge and Roman match. Like, yeah, it was tensions were high. Did you think, like Seth interferes? He did an interview twice for him to put the put the nail in the coffin. But all in all, I mean, the match was really good. As you
Yeah.
mentioned, the false finishes, the essayed moves. I mean, besides the one botch, which was, made up for later, it was a great match all in all. And you got to give credit, even though the matches are longer, Roman is putting out some great matches and ending the
Oh, I
shows
mean, yeah,
off
everybody
right.
loves him. Yeah.
So, I mean, now you get to see what he does with Cena if we get a 45-minute or
I mean, they have to. I know. I hope they don't go the wrong way with it. I hope they don't try and. I mean, Roman Reigns is already Thanos. Really, he
yeah.
is. He's got the glove. Like he's just such a big bad guy. What they should do is have Cena take it to him and then have Roman win. Like have them really just kick the hell out of each other. I hope they don't try and do like a Bobby Lashley, a Brock Lesnar thing when the whole Suplex City thing arrived. I wouldn't like that. Now, if it was Bobby Lashley versus John Cena, 100%. And we'll get to Bobby Lashley. And when we do, they should still do that. But they should not do that. Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns won't look any better doing that. He'll look much better if he puts on a classic with John Cena. He needs a classic. He doesn't need to be built. Cena doesn't need to be built. This is, a dream match that they just need to absolutely, hammer in. And they don't need to worry about the end. Don't worry about who looks like what at the end. Because if they have a good match, everyone's going to look exactly like they need to at the end. So don't try and overbook or overthink your booking for their match. I would say that would be my thing. Maybe even take the Usos out beforehand. You know what I mean? Like
make them
explicitly show the Usos getting taken out of the arena. Don't make it a weird surprise. Don't have them show up, in street clothes or whatever, come out from under the ring. It might even be smart to just get rid of the Usos for that match. I mean, he could still be on the card earlier, but take them out.
Yes, make it all Cena, Roman,
yeah,
Amano, Imano.
And then, have I don't know if you watched Paul Heyman during the CM Punk Undertaker WrestleMania match. That's how Paul Heyman should look. Nervous the entire time.
Okay, cool. So legitimately nervous. Yeah, it's been a long time since I saw that match, but
he was great. I mean, I think Paul Heyman is a tad bit overrated now. Not that he's not great. I mean, he's better than any of the newer managers they've had, but I don't think he's a little bit overrated. They're putting him with really talented people, so he's not really helping anybody. He's just an extra layer. But when he does it right, like I said, with the CM Punk Undertaker match, every time it looked like he was going to win. I mean, it was a little bit inverse because CM Punk was the underdog in a way. So when CM Punk really looked like he had it, like Heyman looked like he was about to blow his mind with ecstatic because he's like, oh my God, CM Punk's going to win. CM Punk's going to win. And then every single time CM Punk kicked out, he looked like he genuinely had to like calm his heart palpitations. It was very good. And so it should be like that. He should have no clue what's going to happen. He knows the Usos are coming out, so he's nervous. And every time Roman hits a big move, he should lose it. And every time Roman gets destroyed, he should lose it. So I think that's what it should be. It should be the three of them, singles match for the title. No extra bells and whistles. Just, go for it.
Yeah, I think you could definitely trust that the performers involved will provide that. But anything else left on anything else that hasn't been said regarding Edge and Roman? I mean, Edge really looked like his old self, and I mean, so much Jaeger and pause, and well, we're clearly getting Seth and Edge for SummerSlam.
You think?
And we'll hit that when we talk about what we expect at the end of the show. We'll see where these storylines are going. But yeah, really great TV all in all. I will say with the main event. Now, you mentioned Bobby Lashley, so why don't we hit on that? Who, we really thought there was a good chance that he'd lose at WrestleMania, and yet he's still here, rocking and rolling.
I predicted he would win.
Yes, but I'm saying in a general sphere.
I won $2.50 from the DraftKings sports bet on that.
If only had a little higher wages. Huh?
You can't. It's like it's a set thing. They have like $25,000 in a pool or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And everybody who gets a certain number right gets a share of that. So you end up with like 80 cents, but whatever. It's mostly for fun, mostly to see if I'm right.
Cool.
But I got that one right.
But anyways, in a general sphere though, people may not have thought Lashley would be this long, but yeah, him as the heel, and like, would you consider this match a squash per se? I mean, he did pretty much a 7-minute squash, beat the shit out of him and made him tap. And you feel for Kofi, man, getting these opportunities just get squashed in the big and most important matches. I don't know.
I wouldn't have done that only because of what they ended up doing in the men's match. I think it's better, no matter what direction they go in.
Mm-hmm.
It's better for Kofi Kingston to look like a main eventer once Big E hits the main event, and he's officially there with that briefcase now.
Yeah.
And it's better for Woods, by the way, if Kofi looks like a main eventer, because Woods is still tied to Kofi more so than Big E. So I would say that the three of them are better off with both of them looking strong, and he doesn't look particularly strong. Now, tonight on Raw, I haven't seen anything yet. I mean, they're doing a Symphony of Destruction match with Elias and Jackson Riker right now, so couldn't care less. But I would say that they could fix it tonight, or not fix it, but kind of play off it tonight. But I would have given him a more realistic shot at winning than he clearly had. I would have given him a lot more of a match than he clearly had. I mean, did the main event need to be 33 minutes? Couldn't have been, like 28 minutes. Give Kofi a few more.
Yeah, right.
Maybe one or two more real looks at Trouble in Paradise. I don't know. Not for me to say. I mean, the right person won, because I think that unless Big E's cashing in at ahead of time for them to market at SummerSlam, there's no reason for Kofi to go in as the champ. So, and he's not going to. But I do think this was good. I just wish this wasn't the squash. I wish the next one, the SummerSlam match, and hope they can still do it, but that's the one that needs to be a squash for literally a multitude of reasons. Bobby Lashley needs to destroy his opponent at SummerSlam. He should probably open the show, actually, because it's not going to be the main event. They shouldn't even tease it as the main event. He should kick off the show and just lay an absolute, beat down on his opponent.
Now, and that's that's all the speculation now. What is happening with Lashley's? Who's his opponent? Who is Lashley's
Goldberg.
Opponent going to be? It's
Goldberg. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Brock Lesnar's not doing it.
So we'll just get the next best thing.
Well, no, we'll get the next oldest thing.
Oldest thing. Okay, so you're going to bring Goldberg in, assuming speculation's true.
Yeah, well, so tonight so we know Goldberg is on Raw tonight. They just announced that the almighty Bobby Lashley is having an open challenge tonight. Now, Kofi is probably who will accept it. I don't think Goldberg will accept it because it's an open challenge. But somewhere in that match, Goldberg will come out and do his appearance tonight. I'm almost positive. Now, who knows? I could be wrong. But that would be my assumption, is somewhere either right after or toward the end, there'll be some sort of shenanigans and Goldberg will come out. He'll probably spear MVP or whatever. Hopefully he doesn't jackhammer anybody, because he's not very good at it.
Safety reasons.
Right. But yeah, that's why I assume it's going to happen. And like I said, his matches aren't very good anymore. He's really mostly an entrance at this point. And I say this knowing that at 50 years old, he could destroy me, probably legitimately. So I'm not saying it like I think I could do better, but I'm also not going to be one of the main events of SummerSlam, so I don't have to. But no, he's not a very good match. He's also a dangerous match. We've seen it a couple times now. He's almost legitimately taken a few people out. Oh, Jackson Riker won, so that's horrific. Anyway, So I would say that they have him come out and do almost like what Goldberg did to Brock Lesnar, right? That
Mhm.
could even be a way to set up the Brock Lesnar thing later down the road. Have him just get, hit the spear immediately, right? Then Bobby hits like 6 more, and then I don't know, make up a new finisher and hit that. But he should just destroy Goldberg. That shouldn't be really much of a match at all. And if Goldberg isn't okay with that, and I know they won't listen to me, but if WWE would ever hear this, if he's not okay with that, don't put him on the show.
Yeah.
Like, let it be Kofi again. Everyone wants to see Kofi more than Goldberg. 100% of people want to see Kofi Kingston over Goldberg. I get, for advertising, for people who have never watched the show, Goldberg's the bigger name, but those people are not going to watch anyway, realistically speaking. Sorry to break that to anybody. So
Wah,
I
wah,
get it. They're going to
wah.
want to get lapsed fans. So they're going to put Goldberg in there, which is fine, but you've got to kill Goldberg. I mean, bury him dead. It
Yes.
should be Goldberg's last match.
His legit, even though would be his 15th last match.
And it would help
year.
Bobby Lashley a lot, by the way. I'm not
Yeah.
even just saying this because I don't like Goldberg. Like, could you imagine destroying Goldberg? It would be awesome.
Yeah,
And
no, he's
Lashley
the
is
undestroyable one.
and Lashley is still in a place, I think, where that could help. I mean, I only know what I know as a fan. I'm not, speaking from any real experience as a booker or anything, but I think Lashley is like, right now, Lashley feels almost like a slight variation on the Roman Reigns character. Like, the Hurt Business is gone, but he's still got MVP and he's still kind of got like the Hurt Business vibe, but
Yeah, right.
he doesn't feel quite as dangerous to Roman Reigns, and mostly that's not his fault. That's mostly because Roman Reigns is already like a 6-time world champ or whatever he is.
Yeah.
From his previous run, Roman Reigns is part of the Shield, which is the best faction in the last 2 decades, probably, or at least the last decade. So, I mean, Roman Reigns has got a lot of marquee credentials. Like, people know Roman Reigns. They know he's a big deal because he's been a big deal for a very long time. Bobby Lashley had 3 men dress up as his sister. And he stole Rusev's real life wife, Lana. Those were his big accomplishments until he became champ. So I would say that Lashley could still use a squash over a legend, whereas Roman doing that to John Cena would just make both of them look silly. Lashley wouldn't look silly; he would look more dangerous.
Yeah, and he squashed
Goldberg
someone
like
who's
that.
never been squashed before, not that I know of. So
no, yeah, Goldberg has always been a little protected. So I would say that needs to happen. But there's not much more to say about the match itself. It was 7 minutes long. Should have been longer. I feel bad for Kofi, but I mean, realistically, they want a match that they can, market on ESPN. And Bobby Lashley Goldberg is that match. Bobby Lashley Kofi Kingston, or even Kofi Kingston Goldberg is in that match.
Well, I mean, all in all, I think it's somehow, some way this is gonna all pan out. But again, especially, by time this goes up on the air, we will not know the results of Raw, but I'm sure it will dictate where things go from there. But all in all, that's why you all need to tune in for the SummerSlam pod just about a month from today and see where our great opinions have led us. And having said that, let's switch it up for the female side of things.
Sure.
We have Nikki Cross.
That's wrong.
Nikki
ASH. Oh my
God. Okay, whatever. Nikki Cross, Nikki ASH, a female named Nikki, whose real name, according to this, is Nicola Glencross. So we'll say Nicola Glencross and her Nikki Cross, Nikki ASH, is Miss Money in the Bank, another Scottish person. I actually defeated Alexa Bliss. I always mess it up. Asuka, Liv Morgan. Okay, didn't mess it up. Liv Morgan, Naomi, Natalia, Tamina, Zelina Vega. She wins it in her superhero gear. How do we feel about this? Did you see this one coming? I thought maybe Alexa Bliss would win and continue her freakiness with the briefcase, but nope. We have a real hero within us in Nikki ASH winning.
We have an almost hero within us.
So but, maybe finally the superhero gimmicks giving people a chance. I don't know. But what do you think about this, Ryan?
I mean, I don't necessarily understand it. I think people like Nikki Cross. She got cheered. which a few weeks ago I wouldn't have predicted when she was doing all of her matches with Rhea Ripley and Charlotte on their in the lead up to their match at Backlash. Sorry, WrestleMania Backlash. But so I do think that that's good. People are into it and it's kind of fun. I mean, I like Alexa. I think I might be the only person on the planet who still says that openly. I think you're right. It could have been interesting because she can appear out of anywhere anyway with her supernatural gimmick. So add the Money in the Bank to the fact that she could be anywhere at any time, I think would be super interesting. But they clearly don't see her. They don't know what to do, which doesn't make sense to me how they don't know what to do. Just do what worked with the Fiend. It's that character. very openly, it's that character. Remember, she showed up and beat the Fiend, essentially. I know Randy Orton did the actual pin, but like it's not rocket science what this is supposed to be. The Fiend is taking some time off or quitting or doing whatever the Fiend is doing. I have no idea what's going on with Bray Wyatt. But this is clearly them saying, well, we're not willing to give it up just yet. And Alexa's kind of around, so let's just do it with Alexa. But they haven't done any of the things that worked with the Fiend with Alexa. So I kind of figured that it was probably going to be like, I thought it could be Zelina Vega because she just came back. Maybe they told her that she'd win to get her to come back. Like I honestly had no idea. I almost couldn't care less. I hate to say that. And then the Asuka I always loved, but she won last time, so they weren't going to give it to Asuka.
Oh man, not doing the double back to back like they did with Punk.
Yeah, no, they're not going to do the double for Asuka. Asuka will win the championship when someone in the main four loses, has to take time off. So when Charlotte gets married, Asuka will be champ again. But I will say, I think the only way this works out well for Nikki Ash so it's not Ash though, which is really annoying because Nikki Ash is not a horrible name. I guess it sounds a little bit like, ass, but whatever. They had a Mr. Ass for a while. So, but Nikki ASH, she's not going to win the championship. The best case scenario is if a heel not named Charlotte, probably. I doubt they do this with Charlotte, though it'd be very interesting if they did.
Money in the Bank briefcase and a title?
No. I mean, having her beat Charlotte. So the best case scenario for Nikki, in my opinion, with this gimmick is it's the Hurricane, but she wins matches.
What a concept.
So the Hurricane never won any real matches besides one notable one, which is where I'm getting my idea from. She'll win a few more than that because there's not that many women on the roster. But the best case scenario is if they make, I would say it shouldn't be Charlotte, but it could be Charlotte. But like Charlotte or Sasha, or if they build like Shayna or Nia to be champ somehow on one of the shows. If they get something like that happening where they're the women's champ on one of the particular shows and they are just constantly big leaguing Nikki, and Nikki just constantly gets back up there and says, I'm not scared of you. We work really good with Nia, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But Charlotte would be closer to the comparable to the Rock and Hurricane, and then cash in ahead of time. So don't do a salty, a secret salty cash in after they've had a big match. Have Nikki, she's almost a superhero. She doesn't need to cheat. She cashes in ahead of time on like a random SmackDown. And maybe there's a distraction, maybe not, but quick roll up 1, 2, 3, Nikki Ash wins her cash in and becomes women's champ. We'll lose it the next pay-per-view. But that's probably the best case scenario for this character. I don't see this character being an actual like women's champ with like a title reign that people care about.
Like when Otis technically won.
Well, Otis didn't even cash in. He lost the briefcase and the lunchbox and his girlfriend. Otis had a lot of losses back to back. But I think she should win the title. But it's almost got to be to further another story. Kind of like with Rock and Hurricane. Maybe if it is Charlotte, maybe have a Charlotte like Sasha thing, right? That's the big match. And then all of a sudden, Charlotte gets too big for herself, and Nikki steals it. And then again, at the next pay-per-view, one of the two actual superstars has to win the match to take the title back and to continue that story. But yeah, that would it almost be for a cheap little pop, for a cheap little, like homage to an old gimmick or to an old segment that people really liked. But there's no real like future for Nikki as a superhero to be champ in the women's division. Tag team champ, maybe with the right partner. But I mean, again, strong Hurricane vibes. Hurricane had some success in teams and things like that, but world champ, the Hurricane was not, and I don't see Nikki as being world champ either.
No chance that a returning Becky Lynch takes it. Yes or no?
Takes the briefcase?
Yeah.
They'd make her a little mean, wouldn't it?
Hey, surprise, right?
Yeah, they make her mean. I mean, people won't boo Becky ever, but I don't think Becky should even show up on Raw. So
okay. So I guess
Becky
like
should
a
go to
good
SmackDown.
wild card.
Becky versus Bianca should be SummerSlam.
Mm.
I know everyone's like Becky Charlotte, and Charlotte's got a coronation tonight, by the way. So one of two things will happen. Nikki Ash will do exactly what I just said and steal the title from Charlotte, or Becky will come tonight in front of fans and be like, I'm back and I want my title back. But I really think that should be Sasha.
Mm-hmm.
Sasha Charlotte for Raw. And then have face versus face, Becky Bianca. Becky comes back and says, nice job, bright future, but I lost I lost a whole year of my career and I want my title back. I want to be world champ again. Or maybe even the other way around. She comes out and Bianca challenges her, says, I've got the world championship and I want to beat the best. I want to beat the man so I can be the man. I want Becky Lynch. Something like that.
All right.
Something simple. Don't turn anyone heel. No reason to do that. No one has to be a bad guy. We can cheer for everyone. But Charlotte versus Becky, they love to do it. But I've seen that match 180 times and I don't watch all of those matches. Mm-hmm. So the fact that I've seen it 1 million times means that people who watch more than me have seen it 2 million times. Yes. We don't need to see it again.
Give us something interesting.
Not when Sasha is a fresh match.
So you had Charlotte Flair end the reign of Rhea Ripley last night. Ryan, you said before, not on the show, but to me privately, that Rhea just didn't have it as champion, and I guess that may have led to the booking decisions. Do you feel that's an accurate statement? Do you feel the match is good enough and she just fell short? How do you feel about the result of this match and what it's going to lead to long term?
Well, it's the right choice. Rhea they weren't writing Rhea correctly. They sort of did this with Paige. Remember back in the day?
Yes.
Paige did a little better, obviously. And Paige had, and this is not really a benefit. It's a benefit for Paige, maybe personally, but not for fans. Paige didn't have very many actual people to compete with when she debuted. And she won the title on her debut. And I know Rhea debuted and then won the title, but not really. She debuted to win the title at WrestleMania. Like she showed up to be in that story. So I'm counting it as very similar. Again, it wasn't the same day like Paige, but it was the same kind of vibe. This NXT champ, former NXT champ, showed up, big deal, got a title match and won it. So now very young, and now they're champ. Didn't really work that well with Paige, to be honest with you. People were like, who is Paige? Why is she Divas champ?
When it looks like a brat stall, the belt, which is the
back when the title was horrendous looking. Correct. Not that they're better now. They're better now, but they're not good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I would say that Rhea needs to feud with someone else. Could be Alexa. Could be, I don't know. It probably has to be Alexa. I don't think anybody else would make sense. Can't be Asuka. They already did that. But Rhea needs a story that has nothing to do with the world title. I know I say world title. I of course mean the women's world title. Just something, because the character was, I won a match at WrestleMania, which I mean, so did Snooki.
So. And Bad Bunny.
Well, yeah, Bad Bunny did well though, but
but not.
No, it's not like it's not. So yeah, it's not like Rhea's not really talented. Like NXT, she was awesome, and I mean, she still has good matches. It's just no one cared that she was the champ at all. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they beat Asuka, and that's fine. Asuka at this point is pretty much there to lose to people like Rhea to
Oh
make them look
man.
more legit. Yeah. But even though she looked more legit by beating Asuka, that was really it. And I think Charlotte always feels like a champ. I mean, and she's a heel, so who cares if they boo? They're gonna boo anyway. Um, but she always feels like a champ. So it makes sense. They're like, yeah, we gotta start fresh, especially for SummerSlam. Like if Rhea was hot, like Bianca is, like hot in terms of like, her,
Yeah, it has
crowd
momentum.
reaction. Yeah. Then absolutely find someone, a Becky Lynch or Sasha or Lita or whoever, Beth Phoenix.
Lita.
I don't care. Bring them back, bring them in, have them fight with the new person. That's always the better option, to have a newer star facing off against a more established star to build credibility. But even if they could have had the freaking Mae Young come back from the dead, and that match still would have had no heat behind it, because Rhea, no one cared. Actually, that's not true. If they got Mae Young to come back from the dead for a wrestling match, that would be interesting. But nobody would care about Rhea at that point. It'd just be to see how Mae Young did as a zombie. Undertaker did quite well as a zombie, so there's some precedent there. But yeah, nobody cared about Rhea as champ, so there's no reason to keep her around for SummerSlam to fight for the title. Now, if they've got room, and they should, it's supposed to be the biggest match of the summer, or biggest show of the summer, she should still be fighting somewhere. Get a tag team partner again, maybe do an Alexa thing, but it just shouldn't be for the title.
Yeah, and yeah, I guess maybe this could be a factor for her age sorry, this could be a factor for her young age, possibly. Like,
Nah,
Randy Orton won very young at 24. Then they
and
just
his
strip it
career
off
didn't take off
after.
at all.
So I don't know. Maybe this could be similar fate, but
That was a
again,
joke, by the way.
another thing time will tell with that. So one of the things I also wanted to hit on was, you hit on it a bit, but just to go back to it, just so we officially hit on this match, was the Usos winning. You said it, earlier today. It's ironic, it's sad that earlier in the coming weeks prior to this match, you had Jey Uso have a DUI, and Jimmy Uso get charged with a DUI, but then he gets rewarded with a WWE tag team title. What's up with that? I mean, things are going differently, and hopefully things are better. And there are some weird allegations that have been, and rumors been thrown out there regarding him and his relationship. But all in all, the Usos did win again. Now you have more gold around with the tribal chief and his minions and Paul Heyman. But for what was somewhat interesting tag team in the Mysterios, and now dropping to the Usos. Again, you hit on it a little bit before, but is there anything else to add with that specifically, you think? Do you think this is going to, like how Evolution had all the gold at one point? Is this an example of that? Do you think this is going to be a long-term thing?
I think
What do you
they
think?
think it's an example of that. I think in their mind, this is that.
Mm-hmm.
But the SmackDown Tag Team Championships mean less than the Raw Tag Team Championships, which mean nothing. The Raw Tag Team Championships were to make sure AJ Styles got to wrestle at WrestleMania. That's the only reason that they had that match, was because AJ Styles needed a match. So, and I guess Omos needed a debut. So, two birds, one stone. But yeah, no, it means nothing. So in their mind, yeah, they're like, oh, Roman's champ, Usos champ, they got all the gold, but no one cares about the tag team titles. So, I mean, it's only marginally different. In terms of what happened with Jimmy Uso, I mean, I don't like the public punishment thing that they do sometimes in WWE, where they're like, oh, you did a bad thing privately, we're gonna make you look stupid on TV because of that.
There was some bad ones.
I don't like that, but I mean, didn't have to be public for there to be some sort of reprimand. And if he won the title, there certainly was no private reprimand.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, again, maybe part of the Cena story, they attack and Cena destroys an Uso. If they do that, hopefully it's Jimmy. Hopefully, he can maybe take some classes or, talk to someone. This is the third time this has happened. So it's not like, he made a mistake once or twice. I mean, it's actually very much he made a mistake 3 times. But it stops becoming a mistake in the truest sense of the word when it happens 3 times. So, yeah, I hope that they find a way to, get to the bottom of what's going on and help Jimmy Uso. Because, I mean, obviously, it's dangerous, not just for himself, but for others. And you just don't want that sort of thing to happen, or you don't want the worst that could happen to happen. So hopefully they find a way to give Jimmy some time off TV to work on it. Yeah. And I mean, if he doesn't want to work on it, well, then unfortunately, you're going to have to figure out something else because it might look bad to have to change your Roman Reigns bloodline story because, Jimmy Uso needs to be written off TV and they didn't have plans for that. It'll look a lot worse for the bloodline if they kill someone in real life. So, because they won't be able to work their way out of that.
For sure.
There's no amount of tag team championships that Jimmy Uso can win if, God forbid, he, kills himself or someone else after drinking and driving. Yeah. So hopefully they figure it out and they get him some help or see what happened to maybe try and remedy that situation. I would say for everyone who's somehow involved Naomi in this, that's a little weird. She didn't do it, but that's I don't like that people are talking about his wife. As far as I know, she has no connection to this other than being married to a guy who got a DUI, and that describes quite a few people. So I don't know why that Twitter is tweeting about her specifically, but yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
All right. So hitting on the other tag team match, you did have AJ almost defeat the Viking Raiders, which again, what a crazy ass nickname, the Viking Raiders.
Well, they were the Viking Experience at one point.
Oh, too lazy. So let's just combine 2 NFL franchises, I guess. But
they were the War Raiders when they started. But war was too violent, so now they're the Viking Raiders. No, seriously, that wasn't a joke. Apparently the network said war. They can't say war. Same thing with the Bullet Club. Yeah, that's why they're just called the club because Bullet.
Yeah, you can't have that in this climate now. But
well, not about this climate. We won't pass any gun control, but you definitely can't say the word bullet on television. That's what's causing the problem.
That's what
it's for sure. The mention of the word bullet that's creating all of our issues. Good catch, NBC. Nice work.
Anyways, so AJ is still rock and rolling with this. Did you like what this has been doing for him?
No.
I don't know. I've heard that he does it, but again, who am I know? I'm just going off people from Twitter. Yeah. But hey, do you think he's at least making the this time worthwhile in some way or another? Or when are we gonna see the breakup, if anything? Are you entertained by this? Like, a lot of different ways to go by it.
He's big. It's kind of nice. He looks different than everybody else. I don't know how they're going to do a breakup because AJ doesn't look good right now. He looks fine. I mean, he looks like AJ Styles, but he doesn't look like he's nothing special right now. He's just almost his, boss.
Yeah.
So, I mean, AJ will be the heel, almost be the face, I guess, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Almost is 17 times bigger than AJ. So not a lot of, underdog story to be told about almost overcoming his evil boss. No, he could literally step on AJ by accident. So I don't know how that's going to work out. I hope they get separated in the draft somehow. Maybe lose to RK Bro in the summer and then draft almost to SmackDown or whatever. give him a shot at maybe give him a real tag team partner. Not that AJ's not a real tag team partner, he is, but I mean, if they think AJ Styles needs to be a full-time tag teamer for the rest of his life, AJ just needs to go ahead and quit.
Yeah, right. He's gonna accomplish.
Every other company on the planet will give him a main event title. Every other company.
Right.
So if he can't get that in WWE, he has to at least be in the main event matches. Right. He's earned that much. He's quite literally the best wrestler on the planet. So I would say that they need to separate them. I don't think they should have it be a match. I think they should get separated in the draft. AJ goes back to being, smarmy AJ Styles. Almost can be just a big guy. Again, maybe he forms another tag team. Maybe you get him in
Damian Priest.
Abacado, but that's not what they're calling him now.
Yeah,
The guy was with Apollo.
exactly.
The big
Yeah,
guy.
they're about the same size, right?
Yeah, let them be a tag team. That'd be. I don't know if it'd be fun, but it'd be something. Or have him be a good guy and have him beat Apollo. That could be something. Make him Intercontinental Champion. I mean, that's a lot for somebody who only really wrestles the end of a match. But I don't know. I don't know what you do. You got to eventually he has to do something that's not hype up AJ. But hopefully that's sooner rather than not soon. I mean, October, the fall. By WrestleMania season, AJ needs to be by himself, I think.
And we will trust that he will. Okay. And the last match to focus on before some the final thoughts is Big E, which you are on the record saying Big E should win. You expect him to win Money in the Bank, and he did, defeating Drew McIntyre.
When did I say that?
I'm like positive you said that in one of our podcasts, whether it was the WrestleMania one, that you said, I think Big E will win it. I'm like 95%
I thought he was
sure.
going to win it too, by the way. But
yes, but even prior, you did call it. And again, we'll have to look back in the archives for that, but I'm more than positive that you said that. But yeah, he beats Drew McIntyre, John Morrison, Kevin Owens, King Nakamura, Ricochet, Riddle, and Seth Rollins. And wow, how about that? He finally is getting it. And now we got to basically see where this is going to go. One thing that people have said that naturally Money in the Bank winners, when it goes to the heel, possibilities are endless. And like it's been known throughout history that it's better suited for the heel, but maybe this could be a different situation. Maybe, I don't know. This is, but with the exception of Rob Van Dam winning it and calling it right away, do we see Big E doing the cheap win? Do you think that, you mentioned it before, is he just going to challenge Lashley right away for the SummerSlam? What do you think of this? What do you think of this match coming? This match outcome. And as you mentioned, as you just said, you disagree with the fact that it's better suited for a heel. Do you think that Big E can break that stereotype? But all in all, with all those various thoughts, where do you see this going?
Well, I have to start by saying I missed all of the entrances and several portions of this match because of Peacock, but so did everybody.
Yes.
So way to go, screwing that up, Peacock. WWE should have never sold their network. Anyway, moving on from that, I would say that I think everyone gets caught up on the Edge cash in, which was, shocking, but it was mostly shocking because it was impossible to have happened before then. Yeah, Edge was the first one. So yes, and so Seth Rollins in particular had a really big moment. When he, the heist of the century, and that's another really big heel one. But RVD is another Money in the Bank cash in that really does stand out. And Dolph Ziggler basically like cemented a face turn when he cashed in on Alberto Del Rio. Like people loved that.
With Big E was there.
Yeah, he was there. So people love that. Like the idea that, oh, it's really only for heels. No. If the story is good, it's good. Like if you have someone who cheated, I mean, could you imagine if Bobby like cheated to beat Woods or Kofi in a title match? And then, after just barely escaping with his championship, Big E comes out. It's like, no, you don't get to do my boy like that. I mean, that there's nothing heel about that. Yes, he came out after a match, right? But Bobby was, if Bobby did something wrong, everyone's going to cheer like crazy because they're going to be like, oh my God, Big E's going to avenge the New Day. That's just an example. It doesn't have to be Bobby either, but that's there. He's feuding with the New Day right now, so that's why I'm using him as an example. And not just Bobby. Again, they've kind of booked themselves into a corner on Raw. Drew McIntyre is one of the only legitimate championship contenders on Raw. Nobody wants to see that. Big E's on SmackDown, but if Drew McIntyre looks like he's about to close in on another victory and they cash in on him, maybe even mid-match, yeah, technically that's not the noble thing to do. But people will cheer like crazy because they don't want to see Drew be champion right now. And then that could be a Drew heel turn. They could send Drew to SmackDown. There's all kinds of things you do with something like that, with that kind of story. So I don't think it's set up. I mean, it's not set up for like I'm cashing in. Remember when what was it? I think Mr. Kennedy did that when he won at WrestleMania and said, "I'm cashing in at next WrestleMania." Then he got fired somewhere in between there. But
lost his big push, and then Edge got it.
Or was it Edge or Randy Orton?
I'm pretty sure it was Edge.
Yeah, either way. So I mean, I wouldn't do that. That would be weird if he's like, "Yep, next year at Money in the Bank, I'm gonna main event." Like, don't do that. That would be silly. But I would say, if they want, he could certainly call his shot. I think it's a little tired to do it at WrestleMania, but not necessarily. I mean, you could treat it as almost like another title at that point, defending on both shows even. Have him say, "Yeah, I'm going to be in the main event of WrestleMania because I got this briefcase." He cashes it in. He says, "I'm cashing in. I'm going to be, the main event's a triple threat because I'm going to be in it." And then you could even do that and have the Royal Rumble winner, the Money in the Bank winner, and the world champion of one of the two shows all in the same match. Big E is, again, very charismatic. Have the Miz try and steal it again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have some other bad guy try to steal it again. There's other things. There's things you can do with a babyface, Mr. Money in the Bank, as long as you don't do the same tired old, hit him in the back with a briefcase, hand it to the ref. The ref says, "Are you sure?" And they're like, "Yes." Obviously, they're sure. That's why they came out. And they need to stop doing. They need to stop doing the thing where, like, they do a almost cash in, but then something goes wrong and they quickly take it away.
Like
no,
with
I'm just kidding. Like they did it a couple times, yeah. I mean, I think the Miz did it twice. And in the last one, like, we got to stop doing that. Have them come. If you plan on having them cash in 3 weeks, don't fake the cash in 2 weeks prior. It's silly. Either have them cash in or don't. Like the idea that you could be like, "I was kidding and I have the briefcase in my hand, so you can't say I wasn't." You know what I mean? I don't like it. They just need to have them cash in when it's time. The cash in should be a surprise. It shouldn't be telegraphed over and over and over again. So the cash in is a surprise, and it either works or it doesn't. But I think that Big E, again, as long as he doesn't, use it to like attack somebody from behind mid-match or whatever and do the stereotypical thing, I think he can still be a face and it'll be just as effective. Or they turn him heel. Maybe he beats Kofi. Why not?
Yeah. Why not switch it up? Maybe if you had the big New Day triple threat, if they ever did that for Case, or maybe
I like
that, or
all three members. I like all three members of the New Day. No, I like all three members of the New Day, but I don't think that they're. Well, that's true. They're bigger than the Shield, frankly, in terms of as an act. But they're not individually bigger than the individuals in the Shield. Like the Shield triple threat was awesome. It should have been a Mania match. The New Day triple threat could be really great on a pay-per-view, but I don't know if that's a WrestleMania main event. Like the three of them, I think each of them individually could find their path to the main event of WrestleMania, but they would need to be almost like the underdog. Like it'd almost be the Kofi Mania story.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the story that works best with, I would say, all three of them right now. Now, Big E, after he wins the title once or twice, different story. But for now, since he's never won the world title, he's still kind of working on that, underdog. Does he have what it takes to be champ? Never done it before story. Woods, again, would have to be the same thing. Woods has not had a lot of accomplishments that are not tag team related. And then Kofi, again, because of the way he lost to Lesnar, same thing. Everyone's always like, he lost in 2 minutes. Is he ready for it? Can he really be champ again? So they all have kind of a similar story, which is why the three of them fighting at WrestleMania would be very weird to me. You could do it somewhere else, do it at like, I don't know, another one, No Mercy or Backlash or something like that, slightly smaller one. But I don't see it as a main event of WrestleMania. Main event of a show, but not WrestleMania. Not right now. Again, a few years down the line, if Woods has a world title and he's won it a couple times, absolutely. But just the stories are too similar now, where it'd be like everyone's an underdog, but also someone's the champ, and it's WrestleMania. It'd be a very confusing kind of like, who's the bad guy? Who are we cheering for? Like, what's going on? It'd be very confusing, I think.
I guess we'll see how this will all unfold. So just some final thoughts. Obviously, our big show coming to an end here, and then our next one we'll focus on is Undertaker. Why I think of that? SummerSlam. Our big show coming soon will be SummerSlam at the end of August. Obviously, we kicked off the SummerSlam season off right as we hit in these dog days of summer. We're also going to have some great wrestling to look forward to. Obviously, we're going to have Cena and Reigns. Any chance you think any stipulations, no countouts, no DQs or anything like that?
Or
there's a hardcore one-on-one,
not even hardcore, one-on-one.
Cool, okay. The other ones we have, we're obviously getting Seth and Edge. Now, do we expect that to have some carnage to it?
They should beat the absolute piss out of each other. Probably.
I almost felt bad for Seth Rollins. It seems that Edge was legitimately mad that Adam Copeland was really mad at what his name. I think Seth Rollins' name is Colby Sanchez or Lopez. Colby Lopez. I think that he was legitimately angry. I guess it shows Edge is a great actor, even though he's in now the worst movie of the last 20 years.
He was in Vikings too, okay? He was in Vikings, and that was a fine show. So we gotta just give him some slack. People make bad movies, okay?
We really have to watch that movie. I would also the what's it about the airplane? The casino airplane.
You told me. Yeah.
Yeah, we have to watch that. It's literally
so bad.
Oh my god. Jeez, it's killing me. The casino airplane movie. Money Plane. It's called Money Plane.
It's even a bad name. He was in Vikings though.
He does look like a legitimate Viking. So anyways, you expect that to be maybe Hell in a Cell, maybe Last Man Standing.
They don't usually do those anymore outside of,
the Hell in a Cell
match.
pay-per-view.
Yeah, the pay-per-view, but I would if they're willing, yeah, or honestly, those aren't even that dangerous anymore. It should be like, false count anywhere, like no, I don't even know. I quit match. I don't know. Should be something crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he had a real stiff
now
kick to the head yesterday.
They're both surgically repaired.
Yeah.
So we got to keep that in mind. But if they're both up to it, yeah, I don't see why they can't just throw each other off everything.
Yeah, I mean, that was a stiff kick to the back of the head. That looked like, who knows?
And Seth, I'm assuming Seth wins, but I don't know that actually. They could want to give Edge a win because they haven't given him very many since he was
hurt. Right.
But he also doesn't need them. He's Edge. But assuming it is Seth Rollins who wins, I mean, if he gets a little kooky and starts beating people with tools and whatnot, that could be an interesting take on his character, almost like the hardcore Messiah.
Ooh, all right. So we got those matches coming up. So those are pretty much the guarantees. But, what possibility they're endless coming in? Just some final thoughts. Where do you see the aftermath of tonight's Sunday night's matches? Where do you think this is going for SummerSlam besides what we haven't mentioned already?
Well, I mean, it's hard to sort what I would like to see and what I think they should do versus what they will actually do. But I'll say what they will actually do. They are going to have Goldberg versus Bobby Lashley. Now, I've already said how they should do that match. But even if they don't do the match that way, that match, I believe, is pretty much guaranteed at this point. I don't know what that means for any of the members of the New Day. Like I said, you can almost get away with not having Big E on the show if the other members were somewhere, especially in the main event, because then he could just be like the wild card. But I don't know what they would do other than a multi-man tag match. Maybe that's a way to get the titles off of AJ and Omos without pinning AJ and Omos. Have them pin Woods or something. I think that RK Bro, granted, I don't know where Randy Orton is. He's still missing, as far as I know. But assuming that they didn't drop that story, and I don't think they did because Matt Riddle hit like 700 RKOs in the Money in the Bank ladder match last night. It might be cool if they won the title at SummerSlam. I think people would really cheer for that.
Yeah.
Again, if you don't want them to win one-on-one, then maybe you throw the New Day in there. Make it a triple threat ladder or something, and do that. For the women, I think Sasha, Charlotte, Becky, and Bianca. I think that's it. Those are the four. Some combination of them. Personally, again, I would have Becky come to SmackDown. I'd have Sasha return on Raw. And they could just do something simple like, oh, we traded her for something. First round draft pick. Sure, why not? Because there's no real rules. They can make it up as they go along. But anyway, that would be, I would say Sasha versus Charlotte. Hasn't happened in a long time because they've been on different shows. That would be a great main event match, and they should do it. And then that means Becky gets a brand new match. Bianca gets a brand new match, because that's part of this is, even though Becky and Charlotte always deliver, who's Bianca going to fight? Bayley's gone. Sasha is who she won the title from. So I say that's Becky's the match there. Sasha's the match on Raw. And I think those two would be great. I don't know what they're going to do. It'll probably be Nikki Ash wins all the gold or something. But I don't know. I honestly don't know what they're going to do with the women's division. But they have plenty of talent. And hopefully they give both of them good matchups, meaning Charlotte and Bianca.
Yeah.
And that's all I can predict, honestly. I don't know what else is going to happen. Like, I don't know who else they're bringing back. Probably not anybody. But I don't know. I mean, the mid card could be anything.
And this could be a good thing, not expecting things to go. Sometimes it works out, like,
Oh, Finn will do something.
Yeah, the big thing, Finn Balor comes back to consider too. Maybe Adam Cole finally gets called up, or no, is he just the one? You're just gonna stay here in NXT.
He might. He'll
just be the face of this.
I don't want that. I would love to see Adam Cole be, on the main roster, but he might be the one that sticks around. I don't know.
Hey, that's the good thing about possibilities being endless. Sometimes it works out, whether in wrestling and you get cool WrestleManias like the last two we've had. Sometimes unpredictability does work out, like the NBA now, and you get the Bucks and the Suns with low market teams. Though that's turning out to actually be a pretty good series.
Yeah, people are really liking that right now.
Yeah, but all in all, we can see where this lies, and we'll just have to enjoy the ride. Like I said, summer's already halfway done. I mean, there's only two more. I mean, there's a week and a half left of July, and then it's already August. And well, before you know it, the leaves are changing. So let's take it in. Let's enjoy it. And any other final thoughts regarding this match or anything?
Nope.
Or I should say this event. Cool. Well, all right. We'll see Ryan again in I think next week is your next scheduled tweet cap
at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. But all in all, we'll get you back here. We'll see you very shortly before we know it. And thanks again, Ryan, for another great show. And like I said, we'll see you soon with the tweet cap, and we'll see you next month for sure with SummerSlam, and see if our predictions were correct. And then we could be celebrated and get hired and be doing this for a living before we know it.
Maybe. We'll see.
Definitely going for it. But all right, Ryan, thanks for another great appearance. Episode 90 in the books. And
90.
Let's keep it going. Thanks again, Ryan. And again, go on Peacock Network and see what we have been talking about if you haven't already. And
don't go on Peacock. Steal it from the internet somewhere.
His words, not mine. All right. Thank you, everyone. I'll talk to you later, Ryan.
All right. Bye.
Bye.